Hi there. In this screencast, we'll be looking at payroll, specifically adding employees and editing employees. So I'm going to go over to employees and payroll. So this is my employees or payroll module. Here's a list of all of my present employees, everything we can do with payroll. So in order to add a new employee, I can just click on employees here and add employee. And I'll add the employees from my notes here. You can just add any arbitrary employee like. I'm just going to capture the smallest amount of contact information, although in most places we are required by law to capture all contact information. I'm just going to grab the phone number. And the SIN notice is not required, so I'm just going to use a placeholder SIN. Birth date is required, so the program knows whether or not to deduct CPP as well as contribute CPP. So small Donna, that's probably female. Hire date, this is useful for purposes of calculating statutory holiday pay. And we're not terminating Donna Small quite yet, but we'll look at this stuff in level 2. And I'm going to jump over to taxes. Tax table, again, we're in British Columbia, and the personal amount for 2017 was something like that. This will be depending on how the employee fills out their TD1. EI is 1.4. And we'll calculate CPP, QPP. Income, we're going to be using 26 pay periods per year, which is very common. And we're paying Donna $18.50. And she generally works 70 hours a pay period every 2 weeks for 26 pay periods. So this will be the default amount of hours, default number of hours that'll be entered on the paycheck. We can always override this via payroll check run or an individual paycheck. And she sometimes also works overtime. So that's 1.5. It doesn't, the program does not calculate it for you, unlike other applications, and we have no idea how much overtime she works when she works it, so we won't add a default amount. Vacation rate, she's been in our employ less than 5 years, so it's still 4%. We're going to retain vacation and pay it out when she takes a vacation. If you uncheck this, vacation will be added to every check. And I'm going to jump over to WCB, and WorkSafe BC has let us know that we have to pay 0.7% of her gross wages for WCB. And then we can add items to the daily business manager via the memo, just like for suppliers, customers. I'm just going to quickly copy and paste this from my notes. August 1st. And if you want this to appear in the Daily Business Manager and remind you, you can check that box. So that's adding an employee. I'm going to choose Save and Close. I have a second employee in my notes that you can add as well. I'm going to quickly just modify one of my employees. So Amanda Perez. So if you want to modify an employee, you can just simply click right on the link here. And we now have her SIN, and we now have figured out her gender, and we're giving her $1 raise, and she generally works 70 hours. That also adjusts the overtime, and we also have been told by WorkSafe that we only need to pay 0.7% for Amanda. So that's adding and editing employees. There's 2 more to edit in my notes as well. You can go ahead and add those, or edit those, I should say. So go ahead and add Ken Freisen, as well as edit Fred Campbell and Frank Gordon. Thanks so much for watching.